Hello, it is 1:32 and we waited for the bell to chime. It did not, so we'll call the meeting to order. The Monroe County Election Board on Thursday, November 6th, 2025. In attendance, my name is Frank Andrew and I'm serving as a proxy for Danny Shields. And then we have Penny, and Penny, your last name is pronounced?
Githens.
Githens. And then we have Nicole Brown. And from there, tell me where we're at. Public comment first, or do we read the agenda first?
The adoption of the agenda, and if you need a motion to adopt the agenda, I will happily make one.
Thank you. So you
I will make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented for Thursday, November 6, 2025.
So it
Working. Thank you.
moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So now we'll move to approval of the minutes from the October 23rd, 2025 special meeting. And I don't believe as chair I can move that they be accepted.
I will make a motion to accept the minutes for the October 23rd special meeting.
Okay. And is this the meeting where you had the spelling that needed to be corrected?
I'll second the motion and would move that we correct the spelling of Ashley Kerberg's last name. It should be Kehrberg. Is there a second?
I'll second that. So the motion has been made to accept the minutes as written with the one correction. All those in favor?
Aye.
Minutes have been approved. So now we come to our public comment section. Is there anyone present that would like to make a public comment? Seeing no one approaching the podium, we'll go ahead and move on to the next topic at hand. Is there anyone online that wanted to make a public comment? Seeing none, we will move on to the approval of the contract with, is that where you want it to go, or do you want to go to the Showers Project? Showers Project update.
Good afternoon, members of the board. Richard Kreider, Monroe County Building and Fleet, here to provide you with an update regarding the showers renovation for early voting. Strausser Construction and the commissioners successfully entered into contract on October 30th. In anticipation of that, Strausser went ahead and applied for the building permit in advance to get that expedited. We're looking at next week for that permit to be issued. Strausser's received their credentials and begun the field work inside the suites. Assuming the permit will be issued, they plan to mobilize on the 14th with demolition beginning on the 17th. I'm currently working with voters reg and clerk staff on loose furniture for the suite. And that's where we're at right now.
Okay, Richard, thank you for the update.
Are there any
have
questions?
I do not have any questions. I think we're good.
Okay, is this a monthly meeting? All right, I'll just plan on coming back next month.
I was actually going to suggest that we just go ahead and add him to the agenda monthly until the project's completed.
I think that's a good idea.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll go to Michael, and his last name is pronounced Shermis.
If you have something
If
that
you have
you'd
anything.
like to say. Mr. Shermis, first of all, thank you because you came on very last minute notice, but I was letting the proxy know about your previous presentations, and I shared with him the information about Blue Dag. And so I just mentioned that you said that you would come in case.
Yes, happy to be here. Michael Sherman from the City of Bloomington's, the Community and Family Resources Department. I'm the ADA coordinator at the city and the liaison for the Council for Community Accessibility. We do work in the community in terms of training volunteer surveyors to go out and review physical facilities to see if they have barriers for people with in wheelchairs and people who are blind to be able to access them. And so I think it's 4 or 5 years ago, we did this for the county. Usually we only do things within the city bounds, but everybody said civic engagement, we want to do it. And so we extended it to the county and did all of the polling places in the county and surveyed them. But we've gotten way better since then, and we use a software called BlueDag, and it enables us to do a much more professional job that is higher in quality in terms of how it lays out what the barriers are and what potential remediations to address those are. And I've presented a couple of times to you all and provided as much information as I possibly can. And I would just say, do you have any questions?
I think the fairest thing, Mr. Andrews, since you're chairing the meeting, is that Chairman Shields has seen the presentations. He was supportive of it. Something happened last month. I don't know how we never got to voting on that contract. Somehow the topic got sidetracked or something. But at this point, I am ready to make a motion that we accept the BlueDag services and ask them to give us an expedited contract that we can take before the commissioners so that we have their services for the 2026 year.
I'll second that, since Mr. Shields asked me to vote in an affirmative fashion on this as his proxy.
We need to, in this kind of a motion, because the first time I've seen any kind of contract come through under my time on the board, do we need to specify what the amount was for?
So
It's in what's written.
I have, what I should, will you have the quote for how much it will come to, the services will come to?
I'm saying is, does that need to be in the motion? The amount, that's all.
I would defer to your attorney to see if he feels that that is required.
I certainly think it's beneficial for the public to know what the amount is. I'm not necessarily thinking it has to be in the motion itself, because this contract would then be forwarded to the county commissioners, who had the ultimate authority to approve it. I do think it's important that the public would know that it's $11,988.
And so now it's been mentioned.
Noted.
And I would just like to point out, for not only the benefit of the audience here, but those online, that Mr. Sherman was instrumental in getting this substantially, and I want to emphasize the word substantially, discounted from what their service would actually cost us. And this also allows us to partner with the city so that they're helping us with the polling site. So it's kind of a trifecta, the city, the county, and BlueDag, to make sure that all of our polling sites are ADA compliant ahead of the 2026 elections. And so now that the price has been mentioned, I will reiterate again my motion to ask for the board to go forward in asking the commissioners to sign a contract for the services with BlueDag. And I have asked Mr. Sherman that if that vote passes today, that we get that from BlueDag as quickly as possible so that we can get it to the county attorney and get on the commissioner's agenda ASAP. The money is in the contractual for this year. The services would be for 2026, but of course the budget ends prior to December 31st, so it's not the same kind of deadline if we were talking about the calendar year end. It's the budget year end, which is closer to mid-December.
And we want to get on to surveying them as soon as we can in the start of the new year, too.
Absolutely,
Yes.
Absolutely. Did I leave anything out?
No, I was just going to say, Jeff did mention that if we want to get on an agenda, we need to push to be on next week's agenda.
Which means that the deadline is tomorrow. Correct.
Yeah, the commissioners aren't meeting on the 20th or the 27th of this month for the holidays, so I just wanted to make sure she knew that schedule.
Can we get something from BlueDag?
I will, if you vote in the affirmative, I will go back from here and immediately call them and see what we can do.
Okay, well, the motion had been made and seconded. Are there any questions from anyone in attendance? Seeing none. Any questions from anyone online? Seeing none, I move that we go ahead and hold the vote. Ashley, if you'll call the roll.
Nicole Brown,
Yes.
Frank Andrew,
Yes.
Penny Gibbons,
Yes.
Thank you kindly.
You know, Mr. Sherman, I mean, you and I have known each other for several years now, and I just want to thank you for bringing this opportunity to us. As you and I discussed, it's a phenomenal opportunity. The presentation is compelling, and I think this is a game changer for Monroe accessibility to the polls in Monroe County. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Michael, I also want to say I look forward to working with you and your team very soon. Thank you.
We'll connect soon.
Yes.
Thank you.
I have a couple of questions I'd like to ask, if possible. I did raise this right before the meeting with Clerk Brown. Because it is hard oftentimes, I think, to get the spelling people's names correct. I would like to see us put a sign-in sheet at the podium and ask people to print their names, just to, again, make it easier. And as Clerk Brown has pointed out, it's not a requirement, it's just a request that people do that.
What I said was, I don't want to spank somebody. You know, you come up to that podium, if you're from the public, you're nervous. You may or may not remember to sign in. You may or may not remember to print. I don't want to spank somebody who wants to give public comment. So I have come up and sometime to speak, and there have been times where there's not a sign-in sheet. You know, you do state your name into the record. And so, I don't have an issue with it. I just don't want it to feel like we're criminalizing somebody for forgetting or not being able to do that.
Yep.
And also, in anticipation of next month's meeting, when we're supposed to talk again about vote centers, at last, the special meeting, and actually at the beginning of October, Mrs. Ferris, you explained that printers had to be specially built for Monroe County and that it would take 6 to 8 months to get those. Where did you get that information about them having to be built in that timeline?
So when we were originally talking about the vote centers last year, the HART group, so our direct vendor, when we had discussed with them, they said that they would suggest a deadline of 6 to 8 months before the primary election. After the last meeting, I reached out to them again. They said that since the production rate is much lower right now due to not needing supplies, we could get a turnaround of within a month to 2 months. They said that that would be for us to receive them, but then they would suggest that we supply another month for setup and training on those devices.
That is in line with the stuff I heard. I actually had somebody reach out to me after the last meeting to say that they didn't feel like that timeline was current, I'll put it that way. And so I actually reached out to Hart InterCivic and talked to Lawrence Leach, who is the representative. And he said they have them in the warehouse. They don't have to be built. So I want to put this information out to the public because I think that may make a difference on the attitude about vote centers. He said that they could ship them from their warehouse within a day or two, and we could have them in 2 to 3 weeks. That's what he told me. And then also, he obviously is very aware of the timelines for elections here in Indiana because he said, yes, we should have them, we should want to have them at the very latest by mid-March so that we could do some of the setups and stuff that you're talking about.
Lawrence is also the same individual I reached out to.
And Lawrence has been a very good friend to Monroe County. If he said that he can turn them around, I believe that he would move heaven and earth to do that for Monroe County should discussions go in that way.
Okay, I just wanted that information out there before we started the next discussion.
Any other comments from the board members?
No, sir.
Okay, then I will move that we, oh, there we go. Public comment for items not on the agenda. And please, if you don't mind, pronounce your name slowly so the...
Cheryl Langdon with an S for Cheryl.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Each month, my voice of reason must speak on the insanity coming from my old party, the Democratic Party. Last month, Karine Jean-Pierre, Biden's press secretary, spoke to NPR about what she wrote in her book concerning the reason she has left the party. She complained about what I have complained about. She said the infighting, the bias, disloyalty drove her, and of course, that's what drove me to leave the party. Socialism is never the answer. That is a half-baked scheme to fool young, impressionable women to vote against their best interests, and it hurts the confused young men who don't know what their roles are in the nuclear family. The Democratic Party has become a train wreck with no real direction except the direction of complete destruction of our sovereign nation. We are only a quarter of the way through the 21st century, and the level of carnage, confusion, and destruction by the left and 20th century terrorists throughout the world are destroying Western civilization. Forgetting history, it will only repeat history's mistakes and carnage. Have we forgotten what Kentucky's Democrat Governor Beshears did to his citizens just a couple of years ago? When he sent Kentucky State Police to record license plate numbers of parishioners attending church in an action against private citizens protected by the Constitution to worship freely? Or how California's Democrat Governor Newsom eating out at expensive dinners while poor Californians were locked down in their homes, becoming poorer? Or Queen Pelosi breaking mandates to get her hair done? Or how about rich King Obama throwing himself a big birthday party, breaking mandates while Americans across the nation were locked in their homes as their children lost their education? Oh no, These things occurred several years ago. Americans are constantly in a state of crisis in the 21st century. Look at the rich Democrats leveraging poor families as they lose their food securities in a mafia tactic to rob taxpayers for another 4 years. Have Democrats just lost their mind? The national debt is over $37 trillion, and the Democrats under the Biden's regime sent our nation's debt spiraling out of control as NGOs abuse the protection of the U.S. tax shelters while siphoning our tax dollars. Does no one remember the $160+ billion that taxpayers spent bailing out financial institutions in the 80s and 90s, the Clinton Whitewater scandal? In my 3 minutes here in this speech, the U.S. accrued $14 million of debt, nearly $5 million a minute. Let that sink in. And Democrats want the American people to continue to pay the bill for the 4-year invasion under Biden's treasonous act against the American people. Are you kidding me? Shame on the Democrats. Shame on my party.
Thank you. Any other public comment for things not on the agenda? Seeing none online and none present, I move that we adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Oh, you moved it, so you seconded it, right?
Somebody needs to.
Second. Meeting is adjourned.